If we can't tie your sound to you, if every song you get, like, okay, yeah, it could have been on anyone, that's a problem. And I think that's why we don't have a lot of stars today.
What's up, everybody? We're back with another episode of No Labels Necessary, and today we have a very special guest, dear Callie. She is an artist, a singer herself, has been in bands, has been singing for years to the point that she actually teaches artist development for singers, and she has a lot of great hot takes. I'm so glad to have Callie on here. Before we get deeper into it, can you tell everybody a little bit about yourself and what you're up to these days?
Sure. Well, my name is Dear Callie, but I always say you can call me Callie as well. I'm a singer, songwriter, vocal producer, now artist development coach and performance coach, teaching vocals as well. But I've been doing this since I was 13 years old, from being in singing groups to going solo to teaching myself how to engineer to getting in rooms to write, all the things encompassing being an artist. I've done The Voice, a background thing for Tony Braxton. So I've just had a lot of different kind of experience in the industry, and it made me want to really go into teaching as well, because I've learned so much and I just realized it's a lot of game people aren't getting. And I wanted to come from an artist perspective with, the kind of content and things I push now. So that's where I'm at now. I'm doing performance coaching, artist development coaching. I'm building a brand called Singer Lifestyle, still doing the whole music thing. So that's the spill on me. A lot of different things, but in the music industry you kind of gotta be very versatile and just do a lot, honestly, multi-talented.
Yeah, facts. Yeah, I kind of want to start things here because I feel like this is going to be a good setup for the artist development conversation we're going to have. So you made this post that said you can be the best singer on earth and still record a trash song. So I watched the video. I agree with the take, but I guess it's a two-part question. One, what was kind of your thinking behind that video? And then two, what do you think is the difference between a good artist and a good vocalist? Like, what separates the two?
Okay, so your first question was what prompted that?
Yeah, what was kind of the thinking, the motivation behind that take, and then what is the difference between the two?
It was so random. So, being a singer myself, I'm around a lot of great singers, but also a lot of great singers who don't necessarily know the foundation to recording, because singing live is so different from when you're recording. And oftentimes, your performance on the mic in the studio won't be the same when you're doing it live. So it's just two different worlds that I think a lot of singers miss. So when it comes to being an artist who does a lot of live performing, I just noticed there is a big gap with knowing how to record. Pull it back, baby. You don't have to give us 100% on the mic. You're going to blow out the freaking diaphragm on the mic. So it's just really that's kind of what prompted it, me working not only as an artist, but diving into vocal production and really teaching artists how to utilize the studio, how to give just enough. And my point was with Faith Evans, she has a beautiful voice and she knows how to go in live, but on the mic, she was barely opening her mouth singing the song. It just sleepless nights. She's so quiet singing it and just sucking you in emotionally. And I think a lot of artists forget the emotional aspect. And especially if you already have a beautiful voice and you've been singing forever. You give us so much, but when you implement emotion, it's so different. It adds a different element and tie to it that we often forget. So that was the motivation behind it. Me just seeing the lack of we do all these great big songs and people love to show off their voice, but we're still not feeling the connection from their singing. So that was the motivation. That was the main motivation.
Got you. So it sounds like you're kind of saying even the difference between maybe a person who just has a great voice and the person who has a great voice is a great artist is learning how to match the voice to the emotion of the song. Is that what you're saying?
Yes, because when it comes to the music industry and selling a record, it's about selling the emotion tied to it. So when you think about Mary J, we know Mary J sells pain. So when she sings her songs, we don't care if it's perfect because Mary J is selling pain. Pain doesn't feel good. So she's great at selling that side of emotion. And then the same when it comes to a lot of pop songs. If you're doing a fun, uplifting song or whatever, often in the studio, they're telling you smile while you're singing it because your emotion is going to pierce through with the recording. So that's my point. Knowing your lane as far as an artist and your sound, your sonic brand is like knowing, you know, the emotion you're selling. When you're selling emotion, it's just like an iPhone. You're still a product at the end of the day. So you have to know how to sell it at the, you know, that's basically my point.
Got you. Got
love
you.
that. I love that, and it's crazy because you definitely go to certain artists for certain feelings for sure, but a lot of artists don't like to say that they're boxed in, and I think more times than not they're thinking about a style of song in general, but I don't think too many artists think about just the emotion specifically that they're
Right.
selling. So it's interesting to hear you say that.
Yeah, or even knowing what you're singing about. Like you could sing a Mary J. Blige song and you could be the best singer in the world, but still not be able to sell it like Mary because of song interpretation. You have to know how to connect to your lyrics. It's just like being an actor or an actress and you're given a role. They are given those roles, but they have to know how to emote properly for it to sell. You know, you're acting. So I just see a big disconnect these days with that.
So what's your process of training someone through that, right? Like let's say you had Sean, right? Sean's a great vocalist. You give him this, I don't know, super happy song, but he's not able to put that emotion into it. Like, what are the steps you're taking your artist to get them to that point?
Oh, that's a great question. I did that all summer. So basically, you kind of take them through the process of asking, like, what is this song about? And obviously, sometimes you're not going to be able to tie into the same emotion it was given to the person who originally sang it, but you find things. So if I gave him a super happy song, I would say, okay, I need you to think back on a time when this was your experience or that was your experience. I need you to take yourself there. And we'll just keep diving and pulling into that until it kind of molds into what we need it to. Because training on emotion is something you really can't just force. You have to kind of like take the artist through the journey of it. Like I always say, it's easier to write happier songs or perform happier songs when you're happy. And sometimes when you're not, you have to literally tap into the emotion and find it. You have to think about like Beyonce or any of our faves today. There are plenty of days Beyonce isn't going to feel the song, but she knows how to tap into that emotion when she needs to. So yeah, that would be the main process, kind of like just taking the student or the artist and you're just like trying to teach them connecting. What is this song saying? Asking them, what is the song saying to you? Some of them can't even answer that. They're like, I don't know. So why are you singing it? So we need to figure out what is this song even about, and then we can really grow into like you performing it or connecting better because the audience is gonna feel it. You can't fake it. The audience is naturally gonna feel if you're genuinely feeling it. Beyond how great you sing, they're gonna be like, okay, they sound great, but I don't feel it. Like there's gonna be a disconnect that even the audience will feel. So I'm always trying to like pull that energy out.
Yeah. So this might be a weird question then. This might be a weird question. But so with lead singers, right, is it safe to assume that they have like maybe like a bank of memories they tap into for different songs? Like is that something that a lead singer do? So I'm singing a sad song, I have this sad memory I lean into. I'm singing this happy song, I have this happy memory I lean into. Or is it just kind of like, I don't know, learning how to harness the emotion and just tap into it when you need to?
A great lead artist, yes.
Okay.
A great lead artist, someone who like already kind of knows what they're selling. I always use Beyonce. She's one of our faves. She's one of our most popular today. So yeah, just knowing how to like pull those memories, think of those life experiences. It's your job. So you kind of like naturally learn how to do that. Like even myself, there's been days where I could be recording in my home studio and I'm writing or I'm having to like emote this certain emotion. I don't feel it. And it takes me over an hour to get into it. But that's just the process. So a really great artist already knows that's their job, which is why they sell which is why they sell as great as they do, because they have mastered that. So that would be my opinion.
Okay, that makes sense. That makes sense. So I mean, one, it kind of helps me understand, I guess, sometimes the argument against younger artists, right? Like I've heard people say like, oh, like this, how is this 18-year-old singing about, you know what I'm saying, heartbreak when he's never been in a relationship? Or how is this Nepo baby singing about being in the trenches when you've had a silver spoon in your life? But you kind of hit on this point earlier, right? There is a certain part of the gig, especially I would assume as you start working with songwriters and things like that, where now you're kind of acting, you may have to act it out if you've never been in that situation. So how do
Mhm.
you how do you deal with those artists where you can tell they haven't been through the subject matter of the song?
That's great. It's actually really tough, and you'd be surprised. It's not only young acts. Through the camp that I did, I noticed even adults, because adults they've learned to mask well to deal with life, but they're easier to pull emotion out because they have been through it. But with kids, they are the hardest, and it's like you literally with kids, right? So there's a song that I've assigned them that is kind of like a sad song. And it may not be, say the song is about heartbreak and they haven't experienced it. I kind of take them through the process of like, okay, think of the time your parent was upset with you, or, anything to like kind of force them to feel sad. So if you could take the emotion from any aspect of it, even adults, giving them songs was harder for than kids, because with kids, they're more daring, they're more open to being imaginative. But adults have learned to mask so much to where you have to like take them through, like forcing them to open up first, whatever it's about. It's like being their therapist almost first. So it's not something everybody can do. I think it takes a great vocal coach, a great artist development coach to pull those kind of things out of you that maybe, your producers can't in the studio, or maybe they can, but that would be like the premise of it. Like, because everybody hasn't experienced those real emotions. Think about Michael Jackson. He's singing, I want to be where you are. Oh, he ain't never been in love, but I'm pretty sure his parents like would, I don't want to say that on camera. But we know the Joe Jackson. So Joe Jackson will force him to feel away and he will give us the emotion. Yeah. Unfortunately, not through the best, tactics, but we got, what we needed out of the song or whatever. So a lot of it is just teaching and relating different life circumstances. If you're a kid and you've never experienced anything, okay, well, think about that time when your dog died. How did they make you feel? What was their process for you? Like, whatever that is, and you just constantly pulling to get them to get in the mindset of it.
Pardon the interruption, but I wanted to let you guys know that we've received many requests for working with us personally and wondering how you do so. And although we can run just about any campaign, we're mostly interested in artists that we could work with from a consulting standpoint, where we can really listen to your music, have impact on your actual strategy from a brand standpoint, from your release strategy, build all those things out to ensure your success and help you grow and monetize. So if you're interested in custom strategy for you in any of the categories, like I said, building out a release strategy, understanding your brand, working with us and collaborating on building out your content, and how to tie all these things together to build a custom blueprint relevant to you, then check out the link in the description below. That will allow you to apply for a call with our Contra Brand Agency arm, serious inquiries only. Back to the video. Now, you had an interesting take on riffs, which was kind of counterintuitive. You said that just because you can't do riffs doesn't mean you can't sing. So what do you mean by that exactly? Because my assumption means, if you can't do that, yeah, you can't sing.
Right. So in teaching, I've come across a lot of students who may feel like their voices are more just straightforward, to where they feel like, okay, I don't know how to do runs. Like one of my students, she was like, I'm scared of runs. I don't do runs. I don't do them. And I'm like, you can learn to do it. And I think, when you're around, especially here in Atlanta, where the Black Mecca, and almost any open mic night I've been to, oftentimes, if you're not scatting or doing a lot of riffs and runs, the crowd may react differently. And that teaches that artists who can't do that, they think that they're lacking something. And it's like, no, not everybody does that. There are so many lanes that you could visit that you don't have to worry about doing riffs and runs. Riffs and runs is a special characteristic of your voice. Like opera singers, riffs and runs, even grit, like having great grit, those are characteristics. It's not like, it doesn't mean if you don't do this, you can't sing. But I think within R&B specifically, which is my industry, what I'm around the most, that is what's taught. If you're not doing the run challenges, if you're not, they call it the run culture within R&B. So if you're not doing that, a lot of artists feel like they're not special. And not realizing when you record a song, like your tone and all, it's so many other aspects of your voice that is stronger than just doing a riff. If you do a great run that was well placed, I respect it more than you just running all over the song the whole time. So that was my point of it, because I've had students who come to me and be like, oh my God, like I'm not good at this, I'm not good at that. And then they're thinking they're not great singers. because of it.
Got it.
So,
Okay.
you can teach riffs, you can teach runs, break it down 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. If there's 5 notes in the run, break it down, sing it slow, speed it up, and then boom, you've learned to do a run. So that was the point. Encouragement.
That's so interesting. I didn't know it ran that deep, especially when you talk about like the run culture.
Yes. Oh yes, that is a huge thing, and we have to think. I love rips and runs. That's one thing about it. Like I myself, I always say I'm like a Whitney runner. I love give you a good 5 notes, run it back down, maybe run it up. But when you think of the Brandies of the world, the Jasmine Sullivans of the world, they are, for a huge part of it, an important part of R&B. So they are like our foundation of understanding rips and runs and etc. So when you're basing how great you sound off of Brandy or Jasmine Sullivan, etc., it causes some things to feel like, well, I'm not the best singer if I can't do that.
Got you.
Yeah, I can imagine too, especially when you don't know like what those artists had to go through to get to that point, right? Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. And it does take, like I said, you can learn riffs, you can learn runs. It's just vocal agility. That's all runs are. It's just having great agility within your voice, vocal training, etc.
Yeah. So we had this other vocal coach on maybe last year. Her name is Wendy, and she made a statement that she believes that I think I might be misphrasing her, but I believe she said that she thinks that almost anyone can be trained to sing well. They may not be able to sing great after it, but almost anybody can be trained to be at least a decent to good singer. Do you believe that?
I was just going to say that. Yes, I absolutely do. Because in research, I think they say only 10% of people can't sing. And the only reason you wouldn't be able to sing is if you're tone deaf. So anyone who isn't tone deaf, you can learn it. You can have the most simple voice and we could teach you how to sing. And actually, I've seen it in real time where some of my students or people I've just run into who aren't the best singers, 3 years later, you're like, whoa, like what you've been doing? And they sound great. So yeah, it's definitely possible. I really feel like anyone can learn to sing. You just have to find the right song for you.
I'm gonna have to pick that up one day.
Look, let's do it. We got to do it in real time, so they'll be like, "Oh, okay, they're right."
Oh, I don't want them. I don't want them to hear it before now. I don't know about that.
It's just training, going through the training, finding the right song for you. Okay, like he sounds like he could do some, I don't know, Brian McKnight. Full of Brian McKnight song, get you to train on it.
That's interesting. That gives me insight into the process, though. Like it really is like a unique blueprint around the artist, and more about what makes the most sense for you. Especially, I guess, if you're building a career or just thinking about the front end presentation, it's not who can do everything. All that's cool. We know that there's some people who are the most talented or skilled, but aren't necessarily the biggest. How do you feel about that difference when? Like I've noticed there be some people who will be so skilled and they can do everything, yet at the same time they don't have something that sounds and feels like them. You know what I mean? Like Mary is not anywhere near the best. If you compare her with the best singers in the world. However, she has a stamp. We know how she sounds versus like technically trained, etc. Yeah, you can hit every note, but I don't know. It doesn't feel like anything.
Exactly. Well, you just said it. It just doesn't feel like anything because it's about kind of connecting more with whatever that audience is. I was watching something on YouTube. It was about a singer. I think she's had like a lot of big hits, but her voice was just, I don't want to say basic, but her voice felt like it didn't have any attachment to any specific genre. It was almost like any song they put on her, even though it was a hit, anyone could have sang it. So I think it's important to like know your own sound identity, even if it's not vocally through your voice. It could even be through the channels of like whatever sonics you choose for production or how you dress, etc. But I think that. Wait, what was your question?
Yeah,
Make sure I answer.
I guess one, is that a problem to you, and then two, how do you like figure out what that sound identity is?
Is which part of it a problem?
I don't know. Do you think that's just a problem at all that keeps people from being successful? Because you did say there's somebody that apparently she's successful. They attached a bunch of different songs from to her, and it seems like it worked. But is that a rare case?
That's what I was saying. With her, she didn't necessarily meet the success that she wants because no one even knew that she sang the songs. So I do think it is a problem if we can't tie your sound to you, if every song you get, like, okay, yeah, it could have been on anyone, that's a problem. And I think that's why we don't have a lot of stars today, because this might be controversial, but this is something that I've heard, like a lot of the people, the OGs in the game have said to me, is that like when it comes to a lot of labels, they have chosen not to sign so many artists that have unique characteristics. When you think of the Whitneys, the Brandys, the Michaels, or whatever, the Arethas, they had very distinct tonage. But they said that they were, they had more control, because Whitney, if she walks in and says, I don't want to do this song, that's that. But today they sign a lot more artists who sound the same to mitigate that. So you can never have the stars we had, because there aren't enough uniqueness to the styles anymore. Someone they could be doing hot 1 year, and then the next year you don't hear about them, but you don't miss it because there's another artist who just came right in and sound the same. So I do think it's a problem if you want to have longevity.
Interesting.
Yeah, it's very interesting thing.
But is that something that can be trained though, or does it literally come down to the artist's voice? Because I always think about this, right? Because we're hearing rap sometimes where they may be, I can't think of the artist. It's Pop Smoke, and there's another rapper. I think his name is Dusty Locane, right? And like Dusty Locane gets a lot of flack because like, oh, you sound like Pop Smoke, right? Like you sound like Pop Smoke. But when I hear him speak and I go back and listen to videos of Pop Smoke speak, I'm like, it's literally just their voice and how they were born. You know what I'm saying? So I'm sure there's only so much that can be done about that. But can you even train someone to have a unique voice, or is it literally coming down to knowing how to use just what your natural voice sounds like?
I think it's more than just about your voice. It's about like your entire brand of who you are that helps you stand out. It's not just about, oh, this voice sounds exactly like that voice. It's not even just about the voice. It's overall like people connecting to you and your story, whatever that is. Like I always say, your brand is just who you are. So people tie themselves to your music and what you talk about. There are a lot of voices today that do sound the same, but their brands are just different. So I don't think it's a deal breaker to not have a special voice or to have a voice that sounds like the next person. It's truly just about like how you utilize what you have. And I don't think you should worry about like training it to sound different. But I will use a Britney Spears, like the oh baby, baby, like that was all forced. It wasn't like a genuine way she sang, but that's what they did to kind of give her some uniqueness and difference. So there are things you can do to like make yourself sound different or whatever, but it's not just about how you sound.
Okay. That's a good point too. Because even using the rappers I use as an example, they're basically in the same music space, right? So it's like Dusty Locane was like a emo rapper or maybe more pop or something like that. He wouldn't have gotten those criticisms as much as he is, because he's literally walking kind of the same, or was walking the same pathway that Pop Smoke is walking. That makes sense.
You gotta have something about you that makes you different. Something.
Yeah, because that's they had the same situation with, I can't remember his name, the one who did Panda, and they were like he sounded like Future.
Oh yeah, Designer,
yeah. But then you hear his voice, like you said, it's like, oh dang, he sound more like this than Future does.
Wow.
But it just didn't click. That speaking of, I mean, the voices and the production. I mean, you said a couple of interesting things that I would love to hear you expound on. One is just needing more vocal production if your song feels like it misses something. Because I've heard a lot of tracks from artists, right? And I could hear, I'm not in the studio. I'm not that guy. I don't know the settings or anything to change, but I could hear it's like, for some reason, your voice, and it could be rapping or singing, it's just, it doesn't feel like it's with the song, right? Or it doesn't, maybe I'm not feeling the emotion correctly, but I don't know if that's them just performing, they need to perform it better, or if there's something that I should say, hey, go back to your mix engineer or producer. So can you kind of like touch on how to read that situation and what that might look like based on whatever's missing?
Oh, yeah. So the way that you just explained that is the perfect way that a manager or someone who may not know how to like say specifically what it is. So what a vocal producer would do, people will send me songs, right? They'll send me a song for feedback and I'll go, okay, this one needs a better mix. It sounds like a rap engineer mixed this. I can automatically tell if you're a singer and it sounds like a rap engineer mixed your song. Then you have instances where it is the vocal performance. So vocal production is a vast thing. When people hear vocal production, they think background vocals or adding things to the song. No, if you hire a vocal producer, our job in the studio is to make sure we get the right performance. So for example, if I've been in a studio where they already sound great, but they're singing a song that could be about inspiring someone, and I'm trying to find the right feeling. So it's just constantly going through that approach of, okay, like, can you sing it in this space? Sing it softer. Okay, that didn't work. Like, you're constantly trying to find the right pocket so that it's the right performance, because every song is different. Afrobeat has a different texture when you're doing vocal production from inspirational music or R&B. Like, there's just different feels to it. So your vocal producer is supposed to be the one to help you find the right feel, the right pocket, the right tonage, the right emotion, the right notes. And then like your engineer is responsible for making sure like everything kind of comes together the right way. Then you have production, and they're supposed to make sure, the engineer is supposed to make sure everything is mixed together so that it all resonates how it should. And your producer is supposed to make sure, like, obviously the instruments and everything around your voice is, complementing each other. So hope that answered the question. Vocal production is a vast thing. Then you have things with like background vocals where you do come in and do enhancement. That's what I call enhancement work, where say a song just sounds bland. Like you said with the artist who they submitted, you heard the song and they song it was missing something. Sometimes it just needed some delay. It just felt empty. Yeah. Sometimes you're just not riding the pockets. Sometimes you do need some background vocals in there. This is if it's R&B, sometimes you do need to fill it up with certain spaces of great harmonies and just different vocal placement and vocalizing, those kind of things that make it feel warm. So yeah, it's just a mixture of different things with vocal production. It's never one thing.
Got it. No, that's super helpful. I mean, because it really helps me understand it more holistically from a standpoint of like all producers probably aren't good at the vocal production side of it.
And your engineer is not your vocal producer or producer. That was one of the clips I posted earlier this year that got a lot of attention. Like engineers were like, yes, listen to her, because a lot of times in the studio with artists, they'll come into the studio and then they'll just hire an engineer, a session engineer. And then the engineer's quiet. They're not giving them direction. They're not saying do another take or give me another one or you're pitchy here. That's not their job. That's the vocal producer's job, and oftentimes a producer. Now, you do have engineers that wear multiple hats. So there are engineers who will produce songwrite and, do vocal production as well. But oftentimes when you're just hiring a recording engineer, their only job is to track it. And a lot of artists miss that, and they wonder why, like, oh, my song sounds like trash. And you're blaming the recording engineer, but it's not the recording engineer's job. It's deep, it's crazy, but that's our industry, music industry.
All right, well, last thing. So you said that recording a song fast isn't a flex because a lot of people's joints sound like reference tracks. Can you really dig in? I mean, I think I get it from a surface level standpoint, but like, what's the advice and what perspective should artists see that from?
So this is the thing. A lot of independent artists struggle with having enough studio time. So they'll go in and they'll maybe book 4 hours to get 4 songs done. So they're spending 1 hour on each song. And I see this more with rappers than I do with singers. So yeah, it can work for a rapper because you're not really having to do a lot of stats, right? But my point in all that is when you're recording your song, it's not, because I think when you think of like the Lil Wayne, he had an era where he was doing, I forgot what the mixtape it was, but where he was like recording all of his songs and then just like going on to the next one. So I think a lot of people thought that was the flex. Like, I'm going to record this one tape, be done, and it's like a flex. No, because when you recorded it, now it sounds like a reference because you didn't really dig into it. Like, it takes time to find the right emotion and feel of the song. So when I'm recording songs, sometimes the very first hour, I might book 4 hours. That first hour is going to be trash because I'm still trying to like get into the song. And I think due to finances, a lot of independent artists don't book enough time, and then they end up going and recording a song once when it normally takes a couple of different takes to get the right feeling. Ultimately.
Got it. Man.
Yeah.
so much game in such a short period of time. I feel like we're going to have you back. Like it should just be a segment, Callie says or whatever.
It might have to be because I don't know. It's just such a. I just think with the music industry, especially for independent artists, it's layers to it that I didn't even know people didn't know. And then you have these conversations, and it's like, yes, of course you should be doing this. Of course you should be doing that. And I do kind of like, I don't want to say blame the OGs of the game or like even the people working now, but I do feel like it is our responsibility to give out the game. So it's like, even though I'm an artist, I always say like, God has given me so much insight on so much, and I feel selfish not sharing that. So I do feel like a lot of people in the music industry, like we hold things to ourselves because we think it's going to allow us to get ahead, when really we need to be helping the next generation. Because I don't want to be that OG that's like, oh, these youngins, they don't know nothing. Well, you didn't teach them. So yeah, I think it's a heavy topic and far more to talk about. I feel like we're just scratching the surface.
But where do you want people to find you?
You can find me on all platforms at Dear Callie. That's DearCallie_. And follow my singer lifestyle brand. It's for singers, all encompassing, helping singers on and off the stage. That's singer lifestyle _ on all platforms.
Appreciate you hopping on with us.
Yeah, thank you, Callie.
Thank you guys so much.
For sure,
I appreciate you guys sharing your platform and helping independent artists and all artists.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. That's yet another episode of No Labels Necessary. And we're out. Peace.